Well, the Sing campaign, the Sing campaign is very organic, and it's a small thing actually, because it's mainly me and Tara, who you don't know, and Sammy, who you don't know, and a couple of other people. Also, we work with Comic Relief, and they're incredibly helpful in guiding us. So we sort of have ideas, and if you look back on the timeline, you'll see how those ideas panned out last year, and they were pretty spectacular actually. So I like the fact that just being me, myself, I can choose to do whatever I like. I don't have to ask other people's permission or if this is okay. I can take myself with my own feet and go to another country, or talk, lecture, give a lecture, show the films, perform, make some money, you know, meet with health ministers. There could be so much more. Now, here's another thing about the Sing campaign, is that right now there's a window of opportunity in South Africa with Barbara Hogan, who's the new health minister. She's been given that appointment, and she is serious. She wants to turn the situation around. I would very much like to meet her, and I'm sending a letter to her today. Well, this is in December now. I'm hoping that we can have a talk and to see if the Sing campaign could work somehow in South Africa, in the country itself directly. So it's going to be very interesting, because I actually have no plans at the moment, but lots and lots of ideas. So please keep checking into the Sing campaign to find out where we're at. It's a very committed campaign from my perspective, and it's wonderful. I don't have days off. I have no days off. I just live my life as an artist lives their life. That means that life and work are meshed up together, and I try to make a balance, because I have a lot of interests, and my daughters are incredibly important to me. It's a small family. There's just me and them, and I need to be near them. That's my route. And the rest of it is to do with music, singing, writing, recording, campaigning. I love reading. I like to walk around. I have very simple tastes. I don't like to go to film, what do you call them, premieres. Don't really enjoy doing that. I do it occasionally. I don't have much else that I really like to do. So days off. Oh, I'll tell you what I like to do. I like to string necklaces, but I have to have a total day of total freedom to do that, because otherwise, you know, I'm always, on my laptop. I have a terrible addiction to internet, which I'm telling you now. It's dangerous, folks. Get off the internet. Switch it off now. Switch it off. Switch it off. Switch it off. Okay, the question about the future is an interesting one. I've written before on my blogs that I have very little faith in politicians, and that I have experienced them to be corrupt, mainly, often, and to be double dealing, and they say things to get into power, and then we see a completely different kind of result. And so I feel that Barack Obama is an extremely intelligent man. I am thrilled that a man of colour is in the White House. It is so thrilling that this historical event has happened in my lifetime and so many other people's lifetimes. So I think for this reason it's hugely significant. But he is coming into an incredibly difficult time. There's so many challenges ahead of him, and as he said himself, he is not going to be able to wave a magic wand and create all the solutions. We have an economic downturn. We have a situation of global warming. We have many, many problems, as we all know. I don't need to even tell you them all. They're not probably going to be solved. I would love to see peace. This is something so important that we could see some kind of dialogue, healthy dialogue, alternatives to warfare. But you know what? Just like everybody else, I take each day at a time. Whenever I pick up a newspaper and I read the headlines, I can see that, you know, the world shifts that day. Oh, today we have this event and that's changed it again. And then we're like a boat, like lurching it from time to time. So who knows? I don't know what the future holds, but at least it's better than the other ticket. When it comes to songs, I don't really think of events in my life so much as the feeling that the song, particular song, has evoked in me. However, as I'm saying this, I'm thinking of the songs that I learnt when I was very young, you know, because I used to listen to the radio. I had a little transistor radio. I didn't have a record collection. I just used to listen every morning when I was getting ready for school. I used to listen to Radio 1 in Scotland. We had Radio 1 and we listened to the, you know, the charts, the top of the charts, top 20 and so. I was very aware of what was happening in the charts. And the music in those days, in the 60s and 70s, was phenomenal. It really was. So I'm thinking about, you know, particular songs that I loved. I mean, my top 10, people often ask me, what's your top 10? And included always comes Respect by Aretha Franklin or Say a Little Prayer, Marvin Gaye, anything by Marvin Gaye actually. Let me think. Dock of the Bay, Otis Redding, The Temptations, it's all Motown, you see. It's the Supremes, the Four Tops, The Temptations, Stevie Wonder, Smokey Robinson, and the Miracles, like all these incredible groups from Motown. And, you know, that's what I'm saying. Music is a universal language and it really transcends culture and religious divide. It comes through. So there's this kid living in the northeast of Scotland, white girl, teenager, and I'm listening to this kind of music, as well as classical music, folk music. What else did I listen to? Oh, just endless, like, yeah, the charts. So, yeah, music has been very influential and fabulous thing, a good thing for me. So the question is, do I ever write handwritten letters as opposed to sending emails? And I must say that that is more and more a rare occurrence for me. I've always liked to use electronic equipment, or, you know, in the old days it was actually a typewriter. I prefer that, and I love the fact that you can cut and paste. As a musician, as a writer, lyricist, I just love looking at words. I think words visually are fascinating because each letter is a symbol for a sound, and the combination of the letters together makes a special sound which has a meaning. And I'm getting very cosmic here, aren't I, about the letter writing. Back to the seriousness of the question. Letter writing, I don't know. I don't know. I like emails. I prefer them. Do you want me to send you a handwritten letter? Well, you're not getting one. Just for the record, I like animals. I do like animals. I like animals, okay? I like animals. I like animals, but I don't have any pets. Now, I mean, are you surprised by that? I mean, what kind of goldfish do you think could stand me leaving them abandoned, swimming around and round in the glass bowl for 2 weeks while I'm traveling the world, jet-setting around the world? That goldfish would be so, so sad after I'd bonded with it and told it was the only most meaningful goldfish in the whole planet to me. And then I was saying, see you in 2 weeks' time. That's not nice to goldfish, is it? And it's not nice to dogs, cats. What do people have as pets? Llamas, ponies, chickens, I don't know. So I have no pets, people. No pets. My peeps are my pets. Okay? My peeps are my pets. Yeah. I can't remember writing my first song. I remember writing my first poem. I was 12. And the English teacher in the class asked everybody to write a poem about violence. So I wrote a poem about violence. But that's interesting because I'd never tried to write a poem before, but all of a sudden I got this incredible sense of, how can I explain this? Like, I really knew what that was, and I knew it better than anything else I'd ever done before. It was like suddenly I knew how to write a poem, and I'd never done it before. So I learned in that moment that it was very exciting to try to express myself through word, and that gave me a sense, expression. That's important. When you feel that you can express yourself, I think everybody needs to do that. I think you see a child drawing, it's like with a crayon in a piece of paper, and they feel it's good. It's a good thing. So I was 12 when I first wrote something down like that, and then songwriting, like joining music to the word, that came later. That came when I was about 20 or something like that. But I think all my early attempts were really bad. So I'm trying to forget about them. I didn't really write a good song until Eurythmics, as far as I'm concerned. It was really wonderful meeting Gael Garcia Bernal. I had seen him in the film where he played Che Guevara, and I thought he was extraordinary. And I have YouTubed him subsequently, as you do, if you're savvy with computers. And I've seen him, in his various roles, and I was very surprised to see Gael as a beautiful blonde batting his eyelids so deliciously. You see, to be an actor is an incredible thing. You can actually transform yourself into someone else, and he does that magnificently. And it's like a trick. It's like now you see me, now you don't. So I really appreciate that. Gael is a charming, intelligent, interesting man, and I wish there were more men like Gael on the planet. And I wish they were like 54, 54, a bit taller. We won't go into that, shall we? This question was, have I read The Invisible Cure for AIDS by Helen Epstein? I have read the book, and I think it's brilliant. I think it gives a very personable account of the situation, and I think that is one of the hardest things to do, is to try to describe what is actually taking place when it seems like such an abstract thing to people in the Western countries that have no direct experience of it. To be honest, a film can't really transmit it. It can transmit the feeling and the experience to a certain degree, definitely. And a book definitely can give you a certain insight into the situation. But I have to say that unless you've seen it for yourself firsthand, it is hard, because you can't imagine what chronic poverty looks like. That's very difficult. I now know what that means, and I've been so shaken by it that that's what motivates me, folks. That's what motivates me. Okay, I guess I have a certain degree of celebrity status, and this is something that, in a way, I've tried to play down, because I think celebrity status for celebrity status's sake is a really toxic thing. I am a musician, a singer-songwriter, and a performer. And as such, I may have some kind of byproduct of celebrity status, but it doesn't really serve me that well, because personally, I like to walk the streets freely. I like to engage with people as a normal human being that doesn't have two heads, that everybody isn't just gawping at like that. So celebrity status, you can kind of take it and stuff it, really, in a way. I'm using my celebrity status now to campaign, and I think that gives it some strength, that gives it a good reason, a good raison d'etre, but I wouldn't want it for any other purpose. I would make the worst record producer in the world, because I would have to take responsibility for some other person's to interpret somebody else's idea, and that's not who I am. So I've never thought of being a record producer. That would not interest me. Record producers are good at what they do. I'm sticking to being an artist. So no, I'm not going to come and produce anybody's. No, no, no. Mm-mm. On occasion, there have been some very strange encounters with some very strange people. And on occasion, it's been a little bit disquieting and disturbing. So do I get freaked out? Not really. I'm not hugely easily freaked outable. But, you know, I do understand that there are people in the world who have some issues and they may have projected them onto me occasionally or onto other people. That's a little bit worrying, but not for me personally, because, you know, I take it in my stride. Okay, so when I first started to perform, I had absolutely no money. In fact, Dave and I were both signing on the dole, which is Social Security to you if you live in America. So with the little money that I had, I used to go to secondhand stores and, you know, buy things that I could wear. And they were very odd things. You really don't want to know about those things. But anyway, when Eurythmics started, we had a little bit more money because we got an advance from the record company and we could actually go and buy something a little bit more upbeat. And that was interesting because, yes, I could create these characters, these kind of personas, and I love to do that. And those were the days before stylists, because nowadays you read about these stylists that people hire for like $7,000 or something a day. It's really shocking prices that they charge. And although I have sometimes worked with some stylists, it's been more about just getting me the stuff that I needed because I actually didn't have time. I had too many things to do. So essentially, I have a lot of things. Some of them were made by other people, but I would design, I have an idea, like I'd draw it out. I'd say, this is what I really want to do. This is what I want to look like. They'd make them up for me, or I'd find the things along the way. So that has been fun. And the fact that I've kept a lot of those things, not all of them, but I've kept majority of stuff, and it's hanging up and it's in good condition, and we photographed it and I can put it down on the website in the House of Me. It's really very satisfying because every piece has had thought gone into it. It's been a whole process, and there have been moments when it's been worn in performance or on video or in photographic sessions. And it's nice to think now, because we were always busy making the next thing. Now I can look back on it and say, wow, that was a journey, that was a trip, and it was a good way to fill in one's time through a lifetime. Oh, I don't have too many fond memories of songwriting, because I have to say, in a way, it's such an odd process. I mean, making music is an easy bit. That's never difficult, but actually writing songs with lyrics and melodies, that's a bit of a struggle. It's never come easily to me. I have to say that, to be honest. So, I mean, there were nice situations with Dave and I when we were working in Paris. That was lovely because we hired a little room in the YMCA building in some sort of area, nondescript area in Paris, and we sort of did it up. I stuck film posters on a wall and bought fairy lights and made a nice environment. And there are many, many stories, and it would take me some time to think back. And there were many environments and there were many moments, and well, I'm going to have to write them down, really. It's not really a question that I can answer on camera just off the top of my head. But you've got me thinking now. I'll write it down later. How about that? The honest truth about recording and making music is that there's so many things to do. And in actual fact, I kind of feel that I've only done so much of it. And there's so many ways to explore. And now that I'm out of contract, there's a new kind of chapter opening up for me musically. And I don't really know yet what it could be. It could be this, it could be that, or it could be the other thing. But it'll come, it'll come. and that will be fun. Whatever it is, it will be exciting. I think that that's a big question. What's the most important thing that one can do as an activist for positive change? I mean, without any question, the planet absolutely needs to be looked at. You know, the Amazon jungle, and it may sound like a very abstract thing to us, but the Amazon jungle is the lung of the world. And this jungle is just decreasing every day, and it has been doing so for years. And if we just let that jungle disappear, and it is disappearing, it's going to have such a repercussion. And we know that the ice caps are melting. We know that the weather is changing. And I don't have the solutions to those things. I think we do need political action. It's going to take more than just goodwill and thinking, well, I'm going to recycle and I'm going to not use plastic bags. It's going to be so much more than that. You know, we have systems in the Western world that, and also in the developing countries, that are absolutely chronic when it comes to pollution. And unless we really get on board, and I suspect it's too late. I mean, and I say that as somebody who would love to see the changes made, but they're going to have to be made at huge levels, industrial levels. Industry has been polluting for so long. We're going to have to see industrial level, size and scale changes. And I'm not seeing that happening enough. It's too small. So I don't know, I'm not very, really, to be honest, I'm not very optimistic. Unless, as I say, governments get on board and they legislate. And it's a little bit late, to be honest, so I'm not sure what's going to happen there. So environment is really hugely important. And then poverty, chronic endemic poverty, and that needs to be addressed, and that pays into all kinds of things. If we're talking about terrorism and how we keep peacekeeping, I think we have to address poverty, and I think we have to address the reasons why people go to extreme measures. And I don't think enough people have a vested interest in seeing that, you know, that change take about. I work in the area of HIV, AIDS and women's rights and children. And that's a really, in the big scheme of things, it's a small thing, even though millions of people have been affected. So I'm going to come back and talk about that later again. Some people have been asking me if I like Marilyn Manson's version of Sweet Dreams. Kind of makes sense in a way that you would take Sweet Dreams and take it to that extreme. I don't mind. It's an interpretation, and people have been reinterpreting Sweet Dreams now for the last 25 years, which is just extraordinary. So, I mean, keep it. I mean, I have to say that, you know, sometimes people do these cover versions of things, they send them to me, and I'm like, ooh, that really doesn't sound very good. But that one's okay. I'll go with Marilyn Manson. I'm very flattered that he thought that was a song that he wants to cover. He's an interesting man, Marilyn Manson. I'd like to see him, you know, calm down a bit about his, I don't know, his, I'm not criticising you, Marilyn, but I mean, it's like, no, I think we better cut there. I think we'll just pass on that.